My daughter's 8 years old and she already has her Christmas list. I get a little bit of a panic because you cannot screw up talking to Santa.
Oh, Tom and Suri!
What really happens when a famous father and daughter drift apart in the public eye? Behind the bright lights and red carpets, some family stories hide layers of complexity few ever see. Suri, Tom Cruise's daughter, has quietly taken a bold step that signals much more than a simple name change. Why would a young woman raised in Hollywood's spotlight drop her legendary last name entirely? This decision hints at a story of estrangement, identity, and personal pride that challenges the glossy image of a superstar dad. The truth behind Suri's silence is waiting to be uncovered. Name change sparks questions. Suri Cruise's decision to officially drop her famous last name and adopt Noel, her mother's middle name, immediately raises questions about her relationship with her father. This is not a casual choice for someone born into one of Hollywood's most recognized families. Public records confirm that Suri filed the paperwork to change her name, signaling a significant personal statement. While the exact timing of the filing remains unclear, the name Noel has appeared on her official documents and graduation materials for years, showing this is more than a recent impulse. The change from Cruise to Noel feels symbolic, suggesting something deeper than mere preference for a new last name. It might hint at emotional distance or even a desire to redefine her identity outside the shadows of her famous father. Suri's choice publicly disconnects her from a surname that carries enormous public weight, making her decision all the more striking. This name shift has stirred speculation about the nature of her relationship with Tom Cruise and what she might be seeking in this rebranding. At just 20 years old and attending Carnegie Mellon University, Suri's move to separate from her father's name also signals an assertion of independence. It's unusual for children of celebrity parents to step away from their family name, especially when it holds so much clout. The fact that she feels very proud of her new name shows a growing self-awareness and possibly a statement on her own terms. This decision invites a closer look at the family dynamics that likely influenced it. The absence of Cruise from her high school graduation pamphlet in 2024 was a clear public sign that this change was not sudden or reactive. Instead, it points to a gradual process of redefining who she is and how she wishes to present herself to the world. The name Noel may carry personal significance that feels more authentic or comforting for Suri. Whatever the motivation, the act of renaming tells us that there is an important story beneath the surface waiting to be understood. Though the spotlight has always followed her, Suri's name change pulls focus away from her famous father and toward her own agency. This highlights a journey that contrasts with the public's typical fascination with celebrity families. The name change opens a door into the complexities of her identity and what it means to step out from behind an iconic parent. Yet the question remains, why now? And what does this say about her connection, as well as her distance, from Tom Cruise? Despite the public attention hanging around her father, Suri is kind of pushing back and asserting control over her own narrative, not in some flashy way, but in a more steady, everyday kind of manner. This move seems more than symbolic. It reads like a declaration of self-ownership in a life that's often pulled and arranged by other people's expectations, fame included. It also makes you wonder what her inner world looks like and how she frames where she belongs inside a family that gets watched constantly. Choosing to go by Noel, quietly, complicates this whole assumption that children of stars have to accept their legacy, no questions asked. Behind every name there is usually a story, identity, belonging, personal meaning, the sort of stuff that doesn't just sit there and behave. And Suri's decision suggests a reshaping of those pieces, gently but firmly. It's pretty obvious this isn't just about dropping a name, it's about reclaiming space for herself in a way that feels real, not staged or borrowed. The weight of names and how they connect to family histories can't really be minimized. Suri's change nudges us to look deeper at the family ties, the emotional currents underneath, and the circumstances that brought her to this point. These clues all seem to point toward a family picture that isn't really that simple, like at first glance. The tension that is kind of baked into this name change suggests there are complexities, and only distance or conflict would really make sense of that. Even if the full reality about the father-daughter bond still hasn't surfaced, This switch of names basically sets the groundwork for a more complete tale, one that brushes up against identity, attachment, and separation. What comes next kind of helps show the background against which Suri's choice took shape. That quiet move of redefining her name gives her a new start, but it's within a story people, and the media especially, often misunderstand. It underlines her own agency, and at the same time it signals a bigger arc of estrangement, plus all those emotions that stay unspoken. Still, the reason for that pull away can be traced back to the folks and the history that formed her early years, and particularly the effect of her mother, Katie Holmes. Suri's life, beyond the glow of her famous father's spotlight, has offered her a different kind of environment altogether. Suri's life beyond the spotlight. Though the world knows her as Tom Cruise's daughter, Suri has lived most of her life away from the relentless glare of Hollywood cameras and tabloid headlines. Reports show that she is a student at Carnegie Mellon University in Pennsylvania, focusing on her education far from her father's movie sets. Choosing to pursue a college education in a more low-key setting underlines her desire for normalcy and growth beyond celebrity. This quieter life allows her to explore her interests without the constant pressure of fame. Friends and sources describe Suri as a sophisticated and magical young woman, qualities that shine through despite the public's limited view of her. Growing up with the daughter of Katie Holmes, herself a grounded and determined actress, seems to have provided Suri with a strong sense of identity beyond her paternal lineage. Her joyful spirit and positive outlook are key parts of how she defines herself. This paints a picture of someone who is more than just a star kid. She is an individual carving out her own path. Her educational pursuit at one of the nation's respected universities reveals a commitment to personal development. This choice reflects a deliberate effort to build a foundation on her own merits, untethered from her famous surname. At Carnegie Mellon, Suri is reputedly focusing on her studies with the seriousness and ambition expected of any dedicated college student. This environment may also provide a refuge from the high-profile life she was born into, where privacy is a scarce commodity. Away from tabloid reports, Suri's day-to-day life is marked by the usual challenges and triumphs faced by young adults. Whether she spends her time in classes, social activities, or personal growth, she is creating a version of adulthood distinct from celebrity culture. Observers note that she demonstrates maturity and a sense of self-awareness that comes from having to navigate complex family circumstances. This private, nuanced side of her story often contrasts sharply with the public speculation. The absence of her father's surname in official documents and in public events kind of adds to that whole sense of separation, self-definition. Like, it's not just a detail. Instead, the name Noel, taken from her mother's middle name, has become her hallmark in academic and civic life. Suri is registered to vote under this name in Pennsylvania, which underlines her commitment to building an independent identity. It feels like a young woman pushing back, asserting ownership over her own narrative, not just leaning on familiar family fame, you know. Notably, Suri's personality stays rooted in warmth and a down-to-earth attitude. Even with the pressures that come from being connected to some of Hollywood's biggest names, she apparently still embraces everyday pleasures and simple little gifts. People close to her have described her as someone who brings happiness and a certain lightness to day-to-day life. That contrasts with the intense public scrutiny that often shows up around her father. Put together, this balance suggests real strength and resilience. While headlines keep throwing spotlight on the fractured relationship between Suri and Tom Cruise, her everyday reality kind of points to something softer, more supportive, like a steady maternal presence. Katie Holmes seems to have leaned into building a warm, stable space for her daughter, letting Suri thrive without that constant, heavy shadow of celebrity drama. And this kind of nurturing has, you can tell, shaped Suri's confidence as well as her comfort in the person she's becoming. It's also a reminder that behind every big, high-profile story, there's still a family dynamic, really centered on care, on the small things that matter. Now that Suri keeps growing into her 20s, her choices are reflecting a young woman actively shaping what's next. Decisions like studying, registering to vote, and showing up without the Cruise name suggest independence in a real, practical way. It feels less about inherited status and more about authentic self-expression. her own personal values, and quieter determination. In a way, this chapter might decide how the world ends up knowing her in the years to come. This quiet yet profound building of a distinct life contrasts with the tensions hinted at in the past between Suri and her father. Yet, that tension has been shaped significantly by another key figure in her life: Katie Holmes's protective influence. Katie Holmes has long shared a close and deeply protective bond with her daughter, Suri. From an early age, Katie worked to shield her from the more intrusive side of fame while giving her the freedom to develop her own identity. That steady support became especially important after Katie's separation from Tom Cruise and the intense media attention surrounding their family. Katie's decision to file for divorce in 2012 marked a major turning point. In the years that followed, she became the central source of stability in Suri's life. While the family dynamic changed dramatically, Katie reportedly focused on creating a grounded environment where her daughter could grow without feeling trapped between celebrity expectations and complicated parental relationships. Privacy became one of Katie's strongest priorities. Rather than exposing every part of Suri's childhood to the public, she maintained a lower profile and tried to give her daughter a more normal upbringing. This protective approach likely helped Suri build confidence, independence, and a clearer sense of who she wanted to become. The name Noelle carries special meaning in that story. Noelle is Katie's middle name, and Suri's decision to use it publicly has been widely interpreted as a tribute to her mother. More than a simple name change, it reflects the strength of their relationship and the influence Katie has had on Suri's identity. It also suggests that Suri feels closely connected to the person who has provided her with the most consistent support. Katie has often spoken about motherhood with warmth and pride. She has emphasized the importance of raising a child who understands herself and feels secure in her choices. That message may have encouraged Suri to step away from the weight of the Cruise surname and choose an identity that feels more personal. Their relationship appears to be built on trust, shared experiences, and resilience. Through education, private family moments, and major life milestones, Katie has remained a constant presence. This dependable support has likely made it easier for Suri to move toward adulthood with strong boundaries and a sense of autonomy. At the same time, the closeness between Katie and Suri has highlighted Tom's limited visible presence. Suri's use of Noelle may symbolize love and gratitude toward her mother, but it also reflects the wider distance between her and her father. Ultimately, Katie's protective influence has helped Suri navigate fame, family conflict, and public scrutiny while building a future defined on her own terms. With such a complex family foundation, the events that led to this distance deserve a closer examination. The timeline of a family rift. Tom Cruise's relationship with Suri and Katie Holmes has been marked by a timeline filled with joy, change, and growing distance. Suri was born in April 2006, exactly 1 year to the day since Tom met Katie, a detail the actor has mentioned with affection. The couple married in November of that same year, seemingly beginning a new chapter as a family. For a while, life appeared happy and hopeful, with Suri described as a magical and sophisticated little girl bringing joy to both parents. However, the marriage began to unravel quietly over the years. By 2012, Katie filed for divorce, ending what was once seen as a fairy tale union. That decision dramatically changed the family dynamic and set the stage for an increasingly complicated relationship between Tom and his daughter. The public and private sides of this shift were not always in sync, with fans left to piece together the gaps between headlines and reality. As the divorce became official, tensions reportedly grew between Tom and Katie, affecting Suri's place in both parents' lives. The split coincided with growing reports that Tom's involvement in Suri's upbringing was limited compared to earlier years. Despite the importance of fatherhood in interviews and public statements, sightings of Tom with Suri became rare and infrequent. The emotional distance deepened even as he continued to talk about his love for his daughter. In 2013, Tom gave a pretty formal reply to the accusations that he had cut Suri out of his life after the divorce. During testimony tied to a defamation case against a tabloid publisher, he said the claims were patently false, and he kept insisting he had not abandoned Suri physically, emotionally, or financially. Still, the whole public image painted something more tangled. Like a father who was always locked onto his career and his personal plans, often leaving family milestones behind. And that mismatch is what really fueled the intrigue, and all the speculation around what was going on between them. You could even point at the missing moments, like Suri's high school graduation where Tom was not there. That absence didn't exactly help. It made their growing distance feel more real. Instead, Tom was reportedly in London for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, at the same time as he was filming a Mission Impossible sequel. That decision made it seem like his professional obligations won out over the private stuff, and it left people asking where he truly placed his focus and attention. Honestly, the fact he wasn't present at what most would call a pivotal moment, that spoke louder than words for a lot of observers. Katie Holmes, meanwhile, kept doing that primary caregiver role, the steady protector of Suri, giving her something stable while everything else was kind of in upheaval. And the contrast was hard to ignore. Tom was visible, sometimes sure, but it often felt like he was also distant during the big family moments. That kind of absence didn't seem to stop. It stretched out across years, with not many public appearances where father and daughter were together. So the estrangement between Tom and Suri turned into this sort of whispered but persistent story. You know how it goes in celebrity circles. Also, Tom's repeated denials about abandonment. They haven't really managed to calm the public curiosity or the skepticism. His statements and what people saw or didn't see don't fully line up, leaving room for all kinds of reading into it. Whether the distance is from personal decisions, legal arrangements, or some other unknown factor, it's still unclear, but it absolutely affects the way things look in their father-daughter relationship right now. If you understand this whole timeline, then it starts to make sense why Suri changing her name feels like this deep, meaningful statement. Yet, the publicly visible gap between Tom and Suri is only part of the story. The subtle signs, or rather the lack of very public family moments, invite a closer look at the quieter indications of estrangement that exist beyond headlines. Public signs of estrangement. One of the most telling aspects of the estrangement between Tom Cruise and Suri is the scarcity of public appearances together. Since the divorce, sightings of the father and daughter in shared settings have been extremely rare. This absence is striking given Tom's celebrity status, where family moments are often shared, celebrated, or at least captured in media. The limited visibility hints at a relationship that is distant, at least from the public eye. High-profile events where one might expect Tom to be present for Suri have gone unattended, raising eyebrows. For instance, when Suri graduated from high school in 2024, Tom was notably missing. Rather than standing beside his daughter on a milestone day, he was occupied with professional commitments overseas. This choice contrasts sharply with the visible support commonly seen in celebrity families and has fueled speculation about the state of their bond. Public records offer another subtle but powerful sign of Suri's separation from her father's identity. Her voter registration in Pennsylvania uses the last name Noel, confirming the shift already seen in her academic records and public documents. This consistent use of an alternative surname in official circles reinforces the emotional and social distance between her and Tom Cruise's legacy. It's a formal step in reinforcing her separate journey. Several years back, even in Suri's early education stages, media coverage noted how rarely Tom was spotted attending routine parenting moments. Unlike many celebrity fathers who publicize or naturally share early years with their children, Tom appeared more absent than engaged. This pattern fed narratives of estrangement, especially when contrasted with Katie Holmes's ongoing presence in Suri's life. The lack of shared parental moments in the public space speaks volumes. While privacy is often a choice in family matters, the sheer number of missed events and lack of shared appearances accumulate into a pattern that cannot be easily explained away. Observers have noticed that Tom's commitments to his career frequently coincided with key family dates. Whether intentional or circumstantial, this pattern has become a defining feature of their relationship to outsiders. It leaves room for questions about priorities and emotional investment. Social media and interviews have also provided limited insights into Tom and Suri's connection. Unlike other celebrity families who showcase family photos or shared moments online, There is silence. This quiet absence compounds the impression of distance. The public has turned from curiosity about Suri simply as a celebrity child to concern over a deeper family divide. The digital gap mirrors the real-world distance. Katie Holmes, in contrast, has kept Suri's life more shielded but present within a close-knit family environment. The contrast between Katie's protective parenting style and Tom's low profile regarding Suri shines through in the available public information. While Katie champions their relationship openly, Tom's more private, or perhaps detached approach to fatherhood has been noted repeatedly. This imbalance contributes to the complexity of their story. Such signs of estrangement challenge the idealized image of Hollywood families intact and united. They reveal the emotional and physical separations hidden behind fame's glamorous facade. For Suri, the visible distance may very well be an expression of personal choice shaped by years of circumstances. It underscores how fame and family can sometimes grow apart despite public expectation or hopeful narratives. Though the physical and public gaps are clear, they only deepen the curiosity surrounding Tom's personal perspective and responses to these unfolding realities. His words and actions around fatherhood provide critical context for understanding this complex relationship. Tom Cruise's legal statements. Tom Cruise has strongly denied claims that he abandoned his daughter, Suri, following his divorce from Katie Holmes. In a 2013 deposition connected to a defamation lawsuit against a tabloid publisher, Tom called the accusations patently false. He insisted that he had never removed Suri from his life physically, emotionally, or financially. However, those legal statements have often been compared with his visible absence from major moments in Suri's life. The lack of public appearances together has continued to fuel speculation about their relationship. While Tom's testimony emphasized responsibility and continued involvement, it offered few personal details about how often they communicated or spent time together. It is possible that parts of their relationship stayed private, at least in some ways. Financial support or even simple communication may have continued away from the cameras, but that privacy also left the public with an incomplete picture, kind of on purpose and kind of by accident. With no clear evidence of regular contact, observers keep wondering how real the closeness was, and honestly, whether it ever truly held. The legal setting also matters because it changes how words land. Tom's statements were made while he was defending himself against damaging tabloid claims, so they were carefully worded to protect his reputation and his position as a father. His strong denial suggested he took the accusation seriously, but the official language did little to show the emotional side of the relationship. Over the years, Tom has said he loves his children, yet he rarely gets into details about Suri, like he keeps it general. Meanwhile, Katie Holmes has stayed more in view with her parenting, often appearing alongside their daughter and showing up for milestones, the small and big ones alike. In the end, Tom's legal statements show one portion of a complicated story. They describe a father who rejects the idea that he walked away, while public appearances suggest a noticeable distance. Whether their connection has continued quietly, away from headlines, remains unclear. The gap between his formal denials and his limited visible presence has kept questions about their bond alive for years. Still, the legal defenses and public statements cannot fully mask the challenges that come with balancing an international film career and fatherhood, which leads us to another essential factor shaping their relationship: career versus fatherhood priorities. Tom Cruise has built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most committed actors, spending months filming blockbuster movies and traveling worldwide for promotions. His intense professional schedule has helped maintain his status as a global superstar, but it has also raised questions about how fatherhood fits into such a demanding lifestyle. His career obligations have reportedly coincided with important moments in Suri's life. In 2024, Tom was absent from her high school graduation while he was in London, where he attended a concert amid work on another mission, Impossible Film. Moments like this have strengthened public perceptions that his career often takes priority over family milestones. Major action franchises require long hours, dangerous stunts, and constant international travel. While these commitments have brought Tom extraordinary success, they may also have reduced the time available to maintain a close relationship with his daughter. The distance between them reflects a challenge faced by many highly driven parents, though celebrity attention makes their situation far more visible. Tom has previously expressed love for his children, and physical absence does not always mean a lack of care. Some parents remain emotionally connected despite difficult schedules. However, public reports suggest that maintaining this balance may have been especially complicated in Tom and Suri's case. Their lives have also developed in very different environments. Tom continues to work within the fast-moving world of international fame, while Suri has largely been raised in a quieter and more private setting by her mother, Katie Holmes. These contrasting lifestyles may have contributed to their emotional and physical separation. Ultimately, the relationship highlights the tension between professional ambition and personal responsibility. Tom's dedication to his career has created an unmatched Hollywood legacy, but it may have come with painful family sacrifices. Suri's growing independence and decision to use the name Noel can be viewed as part of her effort to build an identity separate from her father's fame and define her future on her own terms. Understanding how career commitments have influenced Tom's availability helps illuminate the emotional landscape navigating fame, family, and selfhood. Yet it also points toward the path Suri has chosen and will continue choosing for her future. Suri's emerging voice and future. As Suri Cruz enters adulthood, she appears increasingly determined to shape her own identity. Her decision to embrace the name Suri Noel reflects a desire to be recognized for who she is, rather than simply as the daughter of one of Hollywood's biggest stars. It marks a significant step toward independence and self-definition. Now attending Carnegie Mellon University, Suri is building a life away from the constant attention that often follows celebrity families. The university environment gives her space to focus on education, friendships, and personal growth without the pressures of fame. It's a path that suggests she values privacy and authenticity over public attention. The choice of Noel, her mother Katie Holmes' middle name, carries special meaning. It points to that strong connection between mother and daughter, and it also sort of honors the person who has been her main source of support across her whole life. Instead of just dropping one identity, Suri seems like she's instead accepting another that feels more personal and more meaningful too. People who actually know Suri tend to describe her as warm, upbeat, and full of promise. Sure, the headlines always lean into talk about family distance and name changes, but friends tend to notice something different. They say she is really a young woman who's trying to build her own future. And her decision to register to vote as Suri Noel, that little move too, reinforces the whole idea of commitment. It's like she wants to step into adult life using the name she chose for herself. Looking forward, Suri's future is still wide open. Whether it's career, relationships, or those more private pursuits, she appears determined to define success based on her own values. Her story reminds us that identity is deeply personal, even when you grow up in the spotlight. Overall, Suri's journey shows resilience, self-discovery, and that kind of bravery where you step forward on your own terms and create a life that truly feels like hers, not anyone else's. As Suri steps into adulthood, her story becomes more than a celebrity headline. It's a reflection of self-discovery, resilience, and the courage to define one's own future. Her decision to embrace a new chapter shows that personal identity can matter more than public expectations. If you found this story fascinating, be sure to like and subscribe for more revealing looks into the lives of public figures. And when you're ready for another surprising journey, click the next video on your screen to uncover a story that may change the way you see fame, family, and the choices made behind closed doors.